the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. INEC commissioners here present, our guests here and online. Transition periods represent a point of fragility in the strength of democratic institutions. And the strength of democratic institutions are really tested. Examples in the US election, but also the 2 decades of transition in neighboring Ghana, last year's youth quake in Zambia that stopped the ruling party from perpetuating itself in power, emphasized the role that strong institutions, but also a well-informed citizenry, and that is active, plays to forestall authoritarianism. Across Africa, democracies are being tested, from coups in Mali, Chad, Guinea, and Sudan, to more disturbingly, constitutional coups and third-terminism that sees politicians manipulating the law and the electoral process to remain in power, as in Cote d'Ivoire, or to enthrone their progenies, as in Gabon and Mauritius, where political transitions are stage-managed in favor of family members. To be clear, our electoral institutions could not be, our electoral transition, I meant to say, could not be happening at more perilous times. Banditry and terrorism, mob justice, secessionist agitation have deeply fractured the fault lines of our fragile bonds, and a botched transition could detonate those very fragile and bonds and really detonate the embers of mistrust into a full-blown conflagration. Our electoral and judicial institutions are our last defense to avoid this fate. But history and recent actions in both institutions do not inspire great confidence and in their independence, resilience, and willingness to uphold the rules, regardless of external pressures, which we acknowledge can be very strong, and sometimes in the form of silver or lead. Contemporary examples like, you know, and I hope the chairman will explain this, the willingness to extend the deadline for the ruling party, and again, forum shopping, procure judgments like, just yesterday we heard that in Kaduna that statutory voting can now happen. So we see, and obviously there was also Jonathan going to procure judgments in his home state. So we see a situation where we are not sure if our institutions are strong enough, and it is true that the pressures are real. We need INEC and the judiciary to uphold the rules. That's all we are saying. Encoded in the Electoral Act, the constitutions of the political parties, however imperfect they may be. The judiciary must correctly interpret laws and the Constitution and steer clear of electoral cases where they have no jurisdiction. Media and young people, many of whom now control the de facto public sphere, which is social media, have a role to play. Like the Zambians demonstrated last year, they must understand, narrate, and provide accountability to these institutions. At CJID, our mission is to strengthen the media, to provide much needed democratic accountability, and that is why we're very grateful to EIE, Yemi Adamolekun, its leader, for providing this platform for young people and the media to interrogate INEC and to the electoral umpire and to really hold democratic institutions accountable. It's our hope that our collective will for democratic accountability will provide the strength that INEC needs to uphold justice in the face of authoritarian tendencies that threaten to thwart peaceful democratic transition. Thank you very much.